Hello and welcome to our midweek devotional. I hope all of you are doing well today. One of my favorite comedians of my generation was a guy named Rodney Dangerfield. He was popular in Las Vegas and on the late night TV shows. He was a stand-up comic, so he would appear on Tonight Show, other late night shows. And one of his things was he would tug on his tie and say, I tell you, I can't get no respect. Pardon the bad grammar, but he said, I can't get no respect. Then he would do a litany of examples. He would say, yeah, my dad bought a new wallet and kept the picture of the kid that was in the wallet. I tell you, I can't get no respect. So I've always enjoyed his kind of sick humor. If you don't know him, he was in the movie Caddyshack. Well, one day our family was having lunch at Evergreen's Chinese restaurant, and we were opening our fortune cookies. By the way, I hear they don't have fortune cookies in China. It's an American thing. So we're going around the table, and Sherry opened hers. And it said something like, don't worry about the stock market, invest in your family. Well, that's a great idea. And we all said, yeah. Then Tyler did his, and Natalie did hers. And then I opened mine up, and mine had nothing in it. Who ever heard of a fortune cookie with nothing in it, no advice? That's when I played the Rodney Dangerfield. I tell you, I can't get no respect. There's nothing in my fortune cookie. The truth is, I don't rely on fortune cookies to help me determine my fate or help me make decisions. If I were going to do that, I might as well depend on a crystal ball or horoscopes, or I might as well do any, miny, miny, mo. If I were going to, or in the Old Testament days, they used something called the Urim and the Thummim, which was basically they rolled dice. If it turned up one way, that was yes. If it turned up another way, it was no. So what I try to tell people is, if you want to know God's will for your life, then just do God's will today. And I know what that is. That is that you love your neighbor, that you be kind and forgiving to people, and have Christ at the center of your life and try to follow God. And then, generally speaking, the future kind of takes care of itself. I encourage people to do what you love to do. Find something you enjoy doing and use your gifts. It may be your vocation, it may not be, but that's a great way to do God's will. And throw into that some, I think, common sense and some experience and a little bit of faith, and you'll figure it out. Whatever I say to anybody about God's will for their life, I do so with great humility, because I have a hard time with my own life, much less somebody else's life. You might say, well, how'd you get into the ministry? Well, my joke is, and I've used this a lot, is that my calling into ministry happened right in the middle of a calculus exam. I looked up at the heavens and said, dear God, is that other job still available? You know, the ministry thing. The truth is, God didn't hold a gun to my head and make me surrender. I went into ministry because it's what I enjoy doing. It's what I wanted to do. I was a college minister for about 10 years, working on various college campuses with college kids, and I enjoyed it. But then I got an opportunity to be a pastor. I said, Sherry, you want to try this? And she said, yeah. And I came to find out that my gifts and my calling is more really suited to a local church. And I didn't know that when I was 18 or 28. I discovered that through just some common sense and some experience and a little bit of faith. And I've also discovered, by the way, as a pastor, that I do get a lot of respect, way more than I deserve, with or without a fortune cookie.